Imperfect Gentleman Show.
And I have two awesome guests with me. I see the laughs there. Go ahead. Stop laughing at my animals. Introduce yourselves.
I'm Rachel Wolfson at Wolfie Comedy on all social media.
Yeah, I'm Vanessa Johnston at vanessasjohnston.com. Do we typically do plugs at the end?
I don't care. I plug all the time. There's no
that.
wrong time to plug.
Okay,
Rachel's a marketing meter.
all right, first of all, for those of you who are listening on podcasts, you may have noticed already we didn't hear Tehran's loud, energetic voice, nor did we see him in his bathrobe. And that doesn't matter because both of our guests today came in bathrobes.
Yeah.
They were really enthusiastic about coming on the show. So I need to redo the introductions, and I want you to sound equally as enthusiastic as you were when you decided to put the bathrobe on.
You're supposed to intro us, dude. Right?
No, well, listen. I know Vanessa was like, we're going to do the podcast. I was like, well, I'm going to bring the bathrobes, and she was like, do it because I support the movement. You all
support
about it.
The movement.
Yeah, I live my best bathrobe life too. I'm all about it. I live the 420 life, and there's no other better way to do it in a bathrobe. So,
do you wear your bathrobe on the regular, or is it just for the show?
I mean, I'm not a hardcore soldier to the movement like Tehran is, but I have my best bathrobe moments.
I'm not a part of the movement. I got forced into this movement this morning.
All right, you know what?
She's like, we're gonna walk in there with bathrobes. I'm like,
I had this whole plan of how today was gonna.
I was like, only
life, though.
I was like, only if we do it together. And then she left me out in the lobby when she was in the bathroom. I'm like, I just look like a crazy person. If there's two people wearing bathrobes, it looks like a joke. If it's like, one person, you look like you're insane.
It's like Dash Radio. Just let the person off the street come in and get a glass of water.
Like, she's pretty. She looked like she maybe showered this week. I guess she can stay.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would feel more comfortable if the person next to me was also wearing a bathrobe.
Listen, I had this vision for how today was going to go, and it didn't go that way. But you know what? We're blessed in our bathrobes.
We don't have headphones. The only reason why I do podcasts and talk radio shows is so I can listen to my own voice.
That's the reason why you do pretty much
right there. All right, let's give her the headphones.
It's not even plugged in, and Vanessa's still going to convince herself that
all right,
she's listening to herself.
We're gonna go into this wild friendship of yours and all that, but first I want to know about you individually. So,
can you see me under her?
I could see you. Yeah,
okay,
let's just raise the bar. No pun intended.
Yeah, I like nice. Eye contact. Even
though I'm wearing
sunglasses inside.
All right, Wolf. So tell us your story. Like if you're just meeting someone for the first time and you want them to know the most important or exciting things about you.
How much time do we have?
You have about 30 seconds starting now.
Okay, so born and raised in Las Vegas. I come from like two very strict political parents. And I work in the cannabis industry.
Dope.
My parents were like very strict growing up. Like I wasn't allowed to do anything. They told me if I smoked weed, I would die. And then my mom put O.J. Simpson in prison. And my dad, he's like the district attorney of Vegas. So they're very strict.
He's not like the district.
Whoa.
He is the district attorney.
So what I did when I was 18, as soon as I possibly could, when I was 17, I moved to the East Coast to get to know like the real people of the world, right? And
the real people of the world. I'm going to take that as a compliment. I'm an East Coaster. Don't worry. Keep going.
I was
born and raised in the East Coast.
I'm from the West Coast, but I was like, I need to go to the East Coast and like know a different part of society. So I lived there for like close to 10 years. And then I moved back here to LA, to the West Coast, about like 4.5 years ago, and wanted to work in entertainment. And I was like, I want to be a comedian and be a drug dealer. So I work at a dispensary, and that's me.
I was going to ask, it was a little more than 30 seconds, but it was a really exceptional job. I was going to ask, when you said I work in the cannabis industry, I was going to be like, do you mean drug dealer?
Yeah, basically professionally. Legal. I'm a legal drug dealer. And yeah, I work at a dispensary. I work in the industry. I create content for people who like smoking weed.
And you're a comic.
And I am a comic, yes.
Before we switch over to, one more time, Vanessa?
Yeah.
Vanessa. Before we switch over to Vanessa, how do your parents feel about you being a drug dealer?
Well, luckily I didn't have I like waited to have that coming out of the cannabis closet conversation with them when it became recreationally legal in Vegas in LA and in Vegas, or California and Nevada. So I called them up, and I remember exactly where I was. I was standing on the patio of the Hollywood Improv about to record because I have a weed podcast that I started years ago, way before everyone had a weed podcast. And I called my mom, and I was like, Mom, I want to sell weed. I want to work in the weed industry. And she was like, okay. You know, even though they'd known I'd been smoking for years, it was more just their vision of me was like, I'm a drug user. I'm medicating. I'm self-medicating. And then like once I had that conversation, it's like she works in the cannabis industry. I don't know. It was weird. But my mom's more understanding than my dad. My dad gets it, but I think because it's technically still federally illegal, they're always going to come from the what you're doing is concerning us place. But yeah, whatever. Can't always please your parents.
Well, best wishes.
Thanks.
Now let's get into Vanessa over here. What kind of drug do you deal?
Just laughter.
Yeah.
Laughter.
And, the most powerful drug of them all. I'm a comic. I don't really do drugs. I mean, I dabble in like CBD.
Weed isn't a drug, by the way. I mean, it is.
It is a drug. It's technically anything that can alter the mental or physical state of a human being is classified as a drug scientifically.
Right, but it's not in like the negative
So
sense.
if like candy, the like rush I get from eating candy doesn't count, right?
Well, technically, if you look at sugar, so the sugar
very
molecule is the molecule of sugar is almost identical to the molecule of cocaine. Like they're structurally very similar.
Whoa.
Even caffeine. I mean, that alters your.
Caffeine's not similar to cocaine.
No, I'm just saying it's a mood altering.
Caffeine's a drug.
Yeah.
Can we not call caffeine a drug? I spent $500 on Starbucks in the last
Right?
2 months.
Yeah, so it's definitely a drug, and you have an addiction. That's why.
Ron makes fun of my addiction a lot. Well, not only because
The
it's coffee. Well, I get the chai lattes with soy milk.
It has light caffeine.
Yeah, I like caffeine.
By the way, only in LA, you're straight, right?
Yeah.
Only in LA can a straight man be like, I get chai lattes with soy milk, and they don't get beaten. Can we swear on this? Because it's XM.
Did Tehran pay you to say that?
No, dude, I don't even really know Tehran that well. That's why I was hoping to get to know him.
That's
I see him around the comedy community. I'm the Comedy Store is like my home club, and he's kind of more at the Factory, so we don't really run into each other.
Oh, cool.
So I was excited to get to know him.
Back to you. I'm sure you'll get to know him after this show. He'll hit you up. We'll all hang out. Maybe you should come to his shows. Laugh Factory shows Monday, Thursday night, 10 p.m. Check out Tehran's shows.
You're not a comic, though.
I'm not the comic. I am the DJ there who DJs off an iPod.
Nice.
Dope.
Yeah, like I believe in DJing off of iPods.
Yeah.
It
Isn't
just,
that the
it just
future
helps.
of DJing?
It is. Like you don't need all that extra noise and equipment.
Right.
You just back in the day, what did the DJs use? CDs. They just switched to CDs. So I'm gonna do it on my iPod, and I'm gonna feel free doing it.
Also, less is more.
Less is more.
That's what
we're gonna get into that a little more. So now you're at the Comedy Store. Was it a long journey getting into that club for you?
Yeah. I mean, I think like as a comic, you kind of your comedic sensibilities it's like Hogwarts or the Sorting Hat. It's like your personality and your sensibilities kind of like sort you into a club, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So if you're kind of like dark and edgy and like depressed and sad and your parents didn't hug you, you're at the Comedy Store, you know? If you had like one parent, maybe them was an alcoholic, but they were like still fun and you had birthday parties, you went to the Laugh Factory. Like those people are more adjusted and happy. You know, so you get kind of sorted. I feel like Comedy Store is like the Slytherin of comedy clubs, and like the Laugh Factory is like Hufflepuff of comedy clubs, right? The improv's like the Gryffindor.
I never like watched a lot of Harry Potter, truth be told. I missed that boat, but I totally get the references. Though.
I watch all six movies every year.
You seem like someone who would watch all of Harry
Did
Potter.
you read the books first?
No, I don't really read books
Too many pages.
that are fiction.
I'm a big fan of
Do
picture
you?
books.
I do. You're talking to a literature major. Another questionable thing about me that I maybe would get
Where
beat
are
up
you
for
from?
in the East Coast.
Michigan.
Not Michigan, but that was a good guess
New
because there's a
York.
lot of people that look like me in Michigan.
Oh, he said East Coast.
Close. I was born in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And I was actually pretty much born on the battlefield. No, I wasn't, but I just say that. And
It was just really bloody.
Yeah, that's all. It was a bloody mess when I was born.
Did you live near
It was
Amish?
it was a lot of bloody
Amish people?
and men died not physically, just spiritually. Your father.
They say there's like ghosts out there from the dead soldiers. So I don't know if that's true or not. Kind of creepy. But then I encountered the Amish when my family moved to Allentown, Pennsylvania. We're a little close to Lancaster.
Yeah.
And then
I've been to the King of Prussia Mall.
King of Prussia Mall. That mall's popping.
That mall changed my life.
It did. Did you like max out all your credit cards there?
I've never had a credit card in my own name, but I will say I still don't have a credit card. But you can get lost in that mall. You can get lost forever. That mall will take you 3 days to get through.
Yo, I got lost in the mall once when I was a kid, and the security guard didn't care. He's just like, I was like, oh, I'm lost.
He's like, get in line, get in line with all the other mothers who lost their
Yeah,
kid.
like the dude literally just like looked at me and walked off. But then when my cute little sister got lost, everybody went crazy.
He's like, we have real problems like shoplifters and people who cut in line.
Wait, so okay, but the Amish. This is interesting to me. So, did you grow up in an Amish community?
I didn't live inside
There's a lot
the
of
Amish
people
community.
out there.
Yeah, there is a lot. I went to visit them. They're against cameras and stuff like that.
Which is so funny because they'll like carriage to the mall. You know what I mean? They'll like be in their like outfits going into this like modern mall. You know, shopping.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's like a dichotomy, like kind of wearing a bathrobe coming to a radio show, which you two. Well, I don't want to say Vanessa decided to do. You decided for the crew.
I mean, I just like
She's a marketing major, so I felt like I just go with what she says.
Don't blow up my spot like that. Can you just call me a creative?
She doesn't have a bachelor's, she has a master's in marketing.
Master's in marketing.
Yes.
So is a bathrobe a good marketing tool?
No, it's like,
I think for him, it's brilliant. I mean, I think it's great. Like, you got to have a shtick. You got to have a gimmick. You got to have something that separates you from whatever else is out there. And if it's something as simple as a bathrobe, like someone else is going to be on the sidelines and be like, why didn't I think of that? You know what I mean? So I think it's great. I support the movement.
All right. So now we have one weed comic and we have one depressed comic. Is that a good word to use?
I think all comics are naturally depressed, and a lot of comics use weed to help with that.
Yeah. and how did you get into comedy? Like, what was your start?
Her depression.
First, my mom had schizophrenia. My dad never said he loves me. I was like 5 years ago, this dude took me on a date to a comedy festival, and I didn't even know that stand-up existed. And Chris D'Elia was on stage, and I was
one of the greats.
Yeah, he's great. And I was like, I could do that. And so I bought a book on stand-up and read it, and the book was awful. I didn't know this at the time, but I just thought that it was like the Bible of stand-up. And so I read the book and I didn't like it, so I didn't do stand-up. And then I was working at HBO in development, and a bunch of my colleagues went to the Improv, and I went with them, and I watched the comics, and I realized they didn't follow what the book said. So I was like, maybe this book is wrong. So then I just stepped on stage, and I'm a comedic genius, and so I just keep doing it, No.
Well, your story resonates me because it resonates with me. I was watching Kobe Bryant play basketball, and I was like, I could do that. So I bought his shoes for like $200, and I got like, you know, you could get cut from a team. I got cut from the trials. They're like, don't be here. So I'm glad you've experienced some success after, so it's been 5 years.
Yeah. I've been doing stand up for 3 because I didn't do it for 2 because I had the book. But
and stand up's one of those things where it's like it's like you're going to the gym. You're just exercising your muscles and stuff.
100%. It's like being an athlete or being a musician. You have to practice every single night.
So 3 years in now, do you feel like you got I got this compared to when you first started? Is there a certain stage comfort that comes? Decrease in anxiety? I don't know if you had it to begin with.
I was on the debate and speech team in high school, and so I used to tour the country and do national tournaments on the weekend. So when I started stand-up, I was comfortable on stage. It's interesting because, I was on the debate team. It's like I had to memorize 10 minutes of material that was all backed by empirical evidence. So I'd have to cite it, and it was about things like felon disenfranchisement and utilitarian principles. So going up and doing 5 minutes about makeup is pretty simple. I think now at 3 years is when you kind of start figuring out your voice. But I mean, they say it takes 10 years to become half decent at comedy. Mm-hmm.
There's a book called Outliers, which this strange guy in a bathrobe made me read. And he's just basically talking about the 10-year rule. And I've seen it with a lot of people.
I could see Tehran reading every Malcolm Gladwell book. He just has tipping point.
How did you meet Tehran?
I met him.
You know so much about him. I want to know how you met.
We met him at a show at the Comedy Store that he was hosting.
Yeah, we were all on a show together.
So he was hosting and you two were on stage.
We performed on the show. Yeah.
Cool. All right. So as friends and you're in the same industry, right? So have you had any sort of competitive nature or clashes with your friendships and your careers
Between us?
Between us?
No.
Between you two?
I think, okay, I'm still like, I'm even newer than Vanessa. Vanessa's like a junior. You know what I mean? I look up to her even though she's younger than me in the comedy community, but I'm only a year and a half in, and like,
welcome, newbie.
Thank you. You know, feel free to haze me. I think in the beginning, I mean, it's so funny because even just a year and a half in, I have friends that are like, I want to try stand-up. I'm like, don't do it. Because when I first started stand-up, people would tell me, like, the greats are always like, why would you ever choose this? And now that I'm a year and a half in, I kind of understand where they're coming from, because it's such like a humbling, you know, existential experience, forcing yourself to get up every night and tell your story, whatever that is. And I think for me in the beginning, it's the balance of like, okay, are you writing jokes to write jokes, or are you trying to tell your story with your voice that people find funny? And I think once you switch out of like, I'm going to do joke about, because anything that's ever been talked about has already been said by someone amazing, someone who will say it way better than you ever could, but no one can tell your story in your voice. And I think once I started to figure out, okay, I can do this. I can tell my story. My feelings of like envy and jealousy of other people, which comes naturally, kind of dissipated. And I had more confidence in like, I don't give a fuck what anyone else is doing. I'm just going to be better than I was yesterday. So.
Okay. My answer to your question is that I'm not competitive with Rachel. I'm very selective in the people that are like, I'm cool. I'm like nice to everybody. I'm very selective in the people that I'm like close with.
You have a tight circle.
Super tight. And the people that are in my circle, I don't look at them competitively. I look at them as like an extension of myself. And so anything that can make them better indirectly makes me better, because they're an extension of me.
Yo, hold on, that was like a very profound statement. Can you repeat that? But I want you to give a piercing look into the camera about people being an extension of yourself. That was just it touched my vibe, spirit fingers.
Oh my God.
Spirit fingers.
I don't think I can do it again.
I mean, it is true. Like basically,
did my spirit fingers get rejected?
No. Basically,
sorry. You're not in the group
like,
yet.
Vanessa, in like the time that her and I have been friends, like whenever we're together, a lot of good things like happen. Like just like fun, cool. Like we get a lot of good shows together. We have a lot of good moments, and we're always around like really funny people. So I think the trick is finding people who lift you up. You know.
Well, yeah, and then you do the same, and then everyone else, it's like you against the world. You know.
Yeah, that's cool and all, but I wanted you to say it into the camera because it was like so profound.
I know, I just can't.
She can't do it right now. You know, some things like you could only say them once and
I
drop
think that was
the
one
mic.
of those things.
And too bad you can't drop the mic.
No, you can rewind it.
Yeah, we can rewind it. Rewind it, y'all. The mic is hanging. All right, so let's see. I wanted to ask a few questions to kind of get to know you. Now I know more about your careers and stuff. Just want to get to know the everyday you. So I need to know right now, okay? McDonald's or Jack in the Box?
Ew, neither.
Neither. That's a good answer.
I was also going to say neither, but if I had to choose, definitely McDonald's.
I've never even had Jack in the Box.
Yeah.
Okay.
I call it Jack in the Crack. That's what we call it back in Vegas.
So
a year and a half ago, my sister and I were like, I wonder what the best fast food burger is. And we liked it. It was like 2 a.m, of course, on like a Wednesday. And we went to so I think I did go to Jack in the Box once. We bought a burger at every single fast food restaurant and just took a bite and chewed it and spit it out.
all right. So Five Guys or In-N-Out?
Five and Guys was number 1. Second was In-N-Out. Number 2 was 1 Five Guys, 2 In-N-Out, 3 was McDonald's, 4 was Burger King. I think 5 was Jack in the Box.
Got you.
Okay, first off, Five Guys, no way. It should never take 5 people to make a hamburger. That's stupid. 2, In-N-Out is.
I never thought of the literal sense there. That was
In-N-Out is way better. I can't even.
Then
with
Five Guys, dude.
100%.
Fight, just punch each
I
other.
think we're
I'm
about to
not
have
saying
our
In-N-Out
first
is the
fight.
best burger in the world, but like again, why 5 people?
All right. Having to go on a first date with a vegan man or a gluten-free man?
Gluten free, because I'm gluten free. Yeah, gluten-free. Wow.
Gluten-free, way, yeah, for
It's
sure.
way better than a vegan.
Yeah, for sure. But I wanted to give I wanted to give myself a fair shot at like picturing this date.
Can vegan dudes even get hard?
I know. I was like, wait, are there straight vegan dudes?
I'm vegan.
Oh,
are you really?
We met one.
Yeah.
So can you get hard, dude?
I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Oh my God, Vanessa.
Usually it requires like 3 protein shakes.
Is it
Here's
because
the
you're like
thing.
Muslim? Or
I
something?
understand. No, I understand.
Vegans have nothing to
I understand why people
Hindu.
are vegan.
Aren't Hindus?
Not Hindu. Oh yeah, Hindus
are vegan.
well, some are vegetarian.
Right.
Some actually do eat meat, but not cow. Whereas in Judaism and Islam, then
They don't eat pig.
they don't eat the pig.
Yeah.
It's like you switch on the animal. I'm Christian. I eat everything.
Right.
But
I understand why people are vegan.
But I also want to save the animals, and I saw the side eye that both of you gave me when I was shouting out Harambee and Cecil the Lion.
No, I saw no, because I make memes. So like Harambee was like a big thing in the meme community a couple years ago.
What was your best Harambee meme?
I don't make Harambee memes, but I'm just saying, as
just
a
saw
member
it.
of the meme community, there was an influx last year, a couple years ago, of Harambee memes, and that's why I was like, I'm so glad someone said his name, R.I.P.
I shouted him out. Yo.
I
Rachel's
recognize-
beam famous.
self-proclaimed, but if there were
No,
a
she's
meme
like written in
famous-
articles, dude. Rachel's like written in articles like every month of how she's like the meme queen, but she doesn't like
Meme
that
queen.
title.
That's a good hashtag. All right,
Yeah.
my last question was question. To get to know you more, then we're going to switch into
Yeah.
something really cool. It's a what if scenario that Tehran was going to ask, but I'm going to ask because he's not here. Last question: you could be on a private jet or a private cruise around the oceans of the world. Which one are you choosing?
Private jet. Oh, so you're saying you could either take a private jet and fly to different places around the world, or take
Yeah.
a cruise to different
Cruise.
places around the world?
Cruise.
Jet.
I say cruise.
I'm going to go with the jet. You lost. No, I'm not supposed to share.
Are we supposed to say why?
Oh yeah, I want to hear why. I do want to hear why.
Okay, Rachel, you go first.
I'm just a fan of water, so for me, you're closer to the water. But then I think
She likes to
about
be wet.
But then I think about like cruise ships and all the like sickness outbreaks that happen and like weird food poisoning. So I was like, maybe not. But it doesn't matter. I would still have an awesome time.
That's weird because my first thing was like sickness. That's the
Yeah.
reason why I said
But
not
I
cruise.
The
like
reason why you
boats.
said no.
I like boats. I don't like flying.
Also, it's like, are you on the cruise by yourself or are
Right.
you in the cruise with like a group of people? Because if you're in a cruise like with just you,
I just thought of the jet
And, like,
I
a
just
dude?
thought of Aaliyah and I was like,
if you're in a
it's
if you're in a
scary.
cruise with just 2 people, that's super creepy. And also,
But no,
We're
Vanessa,
awesome.
you're in the cruise with your tight circle.
Yeah.
The extension of yourself.
yeah, no. The extension of I would have an awesome time in a cruise. There's buffets. There's like, you could do mics every night on the ship. You could exercise. You could jump off and go snorkeling. I'm taking the cruise.
yeah, I really want to do Impractical Jokers cruise.
That would be cool.
I
Yeah.
definitely
That would
see
be
us
really
as cruise
cool.
ship
It's like a
comedians.
cruise. If you guys, for listeners, Impractical Jokers cruise is like a cruise ship. It's just comedians doing comedy, and then there's people who just listen to it.
Yeah,
That's
but
so
like,
dope.
are you too edgy for?
No,
is your
it's like
material-
R-rated
Oh, okay.
comics. That's the cool
More
thing because
perfect.
like all the other Carnival cruise things are
Have
all like
kids.
G-rated.
Yeah.
You have to like talk about like knock jokes.
I actually hosted a cruise in Miami and it was going to Bimini.
Was it a vegan cruise?
It wasn't a vegan cruise. It was actually a Middle Eastern cruise.
dope.
Are you Middle Eastern?
Yeah, Middle Eastern, Lebanese.
100% Lebanese.
Yeah. So some people think I'm mixed with something.
Because
I
you're
don't-
like big.
yeah, I'm
Are
a big
Lebanese people
dude.
big?
I think that my
I'm pretty
grandfather
sure
was.
everyone comes in all.
No,
different
she's
shapes
right
and
though. But for the
sizes.
most part, they're not this big.
Right, you're tall
I'm
for a
pretty
Lebanese
tall.
person.
Yeah. And here's the hilarious part. You two are gonna get a laugh out of this. So they're like, "We are going to make a hookah lounge on the ship," and I'm like, "Holy crap! I love hookah. This is so cool." Now the ship, they rented out the ship. No, the light bulb dance. You know about that, right?
Yeah.
You want every Middle Eastern dance, the light bulb dance. The men, we just have to clap. The women, they have to get a little more intricate with the movements. So we're on this cruise ship, and it had a brand new. And actually, the owners of this ship were bragging about this like brand new polished wood floor. So we start the cruise ship, and they actually make this hookah bar. There's a belly dancer. I'm like, this is my dream come true. The only better thing that could happen now is that the Little Mermaid could like flap from the ocean, because I liked her before she had the legs. I liked her for who she was. Flapped onto the ship, and like I made out with the Little Mermaid, my first crush. That's the only way that this cruise would have gotten any better.
Little Mermaid is my first crush too.
Spirit fingers. Yes, I got the spirit fingers. So what happens is like heavy winds start coming and all the hookahs get knocked over and there's burning coals that totally destroyed the new floor.
Oh no.
Yeah. So my dream cruise was ruined. And for that reason, I would pick a plane, even though you can't smoke on a plane.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. But there was a time where people thought genius. We'll put people, several hundred feet in the air and we'll let them smoke inside.
Oh, you're talking about smoking laws?
Yeah.
You could smoke hookah in a private jet though.
You can. And even if it were a danger, the thing about the private jet is you could get to a hookah bar faster. So
No, but you could smoke hookah in a private jet.
Yeah, but is it like unsafe even
I don't
if you
think
can?
so.
You're fine?
I think you can smoke on private planes.
I don't see why like lighting fire in the middle in the air like that far up would be a good idea. But
Well, it's actually safer
it's
because there's less oxygen up there. Well, I guess it's a pressurized chamber, so you have oxygen in there. It depends on the oxygen level, but oxygen levels in planes typically are like 17%.
What is she talking about? I never learned any of this stuff.
Well, because fire requires oxygen, so the more oxygen, the more flammable it would be. So actually, technically, being up higher would be less flammable.
Yeah, but I'm just saying
I started
that you're
taking college
in a
chemistry when I was
plane.
15.
There's no escape if something like accidentally lights on fire.
Hey, marijuana comedian, can you relate the scientific law she just said to smoking a bong? I just want to see if you could
Basically,
do it.
the centrifugal forces in the middle of the bong structure create this like oxygen chamber that when inhaled and combusted will take you to levels of elevated places that you've never been before. So that's basically all I have to say about
If I had $1 million, I'd give you the $1 million right now. That was $1 million answer. All right. So here's a what if scenario now, okay? Now we know what type of burgers we like. We know that you would never date a vegan man. And we also
No, I would
know,
date a vegan man. I was vegan for 3 years.
So why were you just attacking me?
No, because I
feel
would
attacked.
assume that most dudes who are vegan, as opposed to most dudes who are gluten-free, a gluten-free dude on average would be less weird.
It's true. When I was gluten-free, I was a lot less weird.
No, but I'm not saying like, not that you being gluten-free would make you less weird. I'm saying a type of person that would choose to be vegan as opposed to gluten-free, the average human that would choose to be vegan on average would be more likely to be weird than the average person to choose to be gluten-free.
That's an awesome stat.
I'm not saying like if I met a person who was vegan, I'm like, oh, they're cool. And then I met another person who was gluten-free, but the person that's vegan is cool, then I'd be like, cool. You know, it's just
But
like a statistical
if you're
things
average.
you learn in public
The average.
school.
I like that average. So you're more likely to be cool if you're not vegan. I think that's true.
I mean, for me, dude, I'm not PC. I'm like very aggressive and mean. And I just feel like the average vegan person is like very sensitive. You know, you don't seem like one of those people, except for the Harambee and Cecil Lion shout out thing at the top.
I do think that's true. I feel like people who are more in tune with like the food and stuff seem more sensitive and emotional because it makes sense.
I used to be pretty sensitive and emotional. Then I
Not
started
about-
hanging out
not
with
about-
Tehran.
I know
Yeah,
he's vegan
that's
and he
true.
doesn't feel anymore because
Yeah.
he doesn't have enough protein
Yeah,
to.
exactly.
And here's our what if question. So you meet this guy, right? And he's not vegan. So you're dating him and you're liking him. You find out 3 weeks in. And this guy is incredible. He can get hard. You have great interactions. You love him. He's
Consensual.
great. Consensual. Please.
Consensual
yes.
interactions.
Let's-
Consensual vegan interactions.
Yeah, they're consensual. He has a great personality.
I just realized Rachel's wearing sunglasses inside.
The whole time. The whole time.
I think that's cool, though. I do that sometimes.
I never do it, so I was like, I'm gonna just be someone else today.
So you have these consensual vegan interactions. He's a charming guy. You're totally crushing on him. Then you find out 3 weeks in that this awesome man you're dating dated your cousin. Are you going to continue
Did
to
they
date
have
him?
consensual vegan interactions?
Everything that happened was consensual because this is a consensual show.
They dated my cousin. Well,
yeah.
how does that happen where you didn't know that before?
Because your cousin lives in another state and then you both moved to Cali.
I guess for me, it would depend how serious it is. If it's 3 weeks in and I don't know, who knows? I would have to also check in with my family to see if they're cool with it.
You'd call the cousin
But
up?
like at the same time, I don't want to be like dipping in the like cousin pond. You know what I mean? Like I don't want to be where my cousin has been necessarily.
So you'd give a courtesy call first to your no, you really like this guy and you're like, you know what? I'm going to dip in the cousin bond because many royal families
Well, then I
do
would
that.
100%.
Wait, you're having a threesome
I
with
see
your
what you're
cousin?
saying. I would 100% call my cousin to see if it was cool, like how they felt about it.
No, not a
I wasn't listening to the question. I was on my phone.
That's all good because you were marketing us, marketing major. She was.
You're
helping.
welcome.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is that you're dating somebody. A month in, you find out that they dated your cousin, right? That's the question.
Mm-hmm.
And what do you do? Okay, first, was my cousin hot? Because if it's an ugly cousin, then I'd be upset. But if it was one of my hot cousins, I'd be like, good job, bro. Kind of jealous.
And you'd back off?
Yeah, I don't care.
But if the cousin wasn't hot, you'd
then
continue?
I'd be like, you have bad taste and we can't date anymore.
Oh, so you're loyal to the cousin in both situations?
No. If the cousin's hot, then we can keep dating. If the cousin's ugly, then I would be disappointed in their choices.
I see what you're saying.
I just don't like people that have sex with ugly people. That's very aggressive.
Wow.
I mean, if it was like a cousin that I didn't like, it was like gross and like.
And that's my friend Vanessa.
No, not ugly people in general. Just like if I had like annoying.
Whoever says women are shallow are so stupid.
I have some cousins that are like fucking, they're cool. I can swear on this, can I?
Yeah, you say whatever you want.
I'm so used to like when I tour, we have to do these like 6 a.m. spots and you're like barely awake, but it's like on, public radio and you can't swear. And it's like, I'm not awake enough to not.
You've never dated an ugly person.
No, I have dated ugly. I dated some fixer uppers, dude. I dated this one dude who was like, looked like he was like 6 of me combined. He was so fat and like, but really smart. He has like the 3rd highest IQ in the world. Like actually, that's
where she learned all this information from.
But he wasn't good looking?
He had potential.
So you wouldn't consider him ugly, therefore.
No, he was hideous. He was like if it was like if Jabba the Hutt was like if you lipoed him, he would look like Brad Pitt. That's what he was.
Oh.
So I was like, okay, we'll date. You're like, really smart. We had like some things in common. I was like, I'm just gonna lipo everything on you. And then he was really successful. And so when I tried to like fix him, he was like, well, I get supermodels any day of the week. I'm like, yeah, it's because you're rich and you have billions of dollars. They just want you for your money. I want them to want you for your physical appearance. And he was like, no, I don't care.
You tried to change him.
Yeah.
Does this make you undateable by your own rule?
No. You know what's crazy now is now he got lipo. Like,
does he look
2 years later?
Does he look like Brad Pitt now?
I mean, he looks definitely way better.
Is he hot?
Yeah, he's attractive. He's like in his late 30s.
Do you regret not being with him?
No, because I could be with him any moment of the day if I wanted to.
He's still in love with you, isn't he?
100%. Of course, look at me. No, just kidding. Have you heard what I've been talking about? No.
He wanted your validation.
Yeah, of course. And he, but he's like one of those dudes who likes to have like part of the reason why he broke up is because he didn't like monogamous relationships. He feels like they're too basic for him because he's very intelligent and he's complexities. And so he likes to have like several girlfriends that he calls like core relationships. So he basically has like a colony.
See, that's the type of stuff you could do when you're rich. You could have colonies of girlfriends.
Or when you're religious.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. He's a genius.
She's like, or when you're in, I was like, the words that came up in my head, F-boy, player, pimp. She's like, religious. I'm like, whoa. Didn't see that
religions.
Well, it's true. Like Mormon people have a lot of, and
yeah.
So, yeah, no, but so he has, all these like hot babes. And then
like
I'm bisexual.
Of babes.
Yeah, he does. And I'm bisexual. And so he'll like send me photos. Like he'll just have like 3 like the hottest models like in his bed. And he'll just take photos and send it to me and be like, try to make me jealous of the chicks he has.
Have you ever gotten jealous?
No, dude.
She's bisexual and I'm high sexual.
High sexual.
I don't know. I don't know what that means. It means I'm highly, I don't know. I'm nothing.
She's high right now. That's what that means.
Okay.
Sexually, I'm high. I don't know if that makes it.
So you would just, as long as the cousin wasn't busted, you'd go for it.
And annoying.
You'd kind of just be inclined to
Here's what I would
him.
do. I would need to check in with this cousin. I needed to get the whole scoop. Why it didn't work out? What was the sex like? How did he treat you?
You know what
after
the sex
breakup?
like. You've been with him for 3 weeks. Haven't you had sex with him by now?
No.
A month in?
I'm not.
I have sex on day 21.
That doesn't mean I've had sex with him after 3 weeks.
Oh, I have sex on day 21. Day 21
I like to get
is the day I have sex.
Date 1?
Day 21.
Day 21?
I don't set days. I do it when I feel like I want to do it.
See, I wrote a book. It says it takes 21 days to make a habit. So I was like, all right, if I see this person for 21 days, now I'm a habit. And so I have sex with him on day 21 too.
gosh, you're brilliant. How to keep a man.
Basically. / woman.
Yeah.
Or a woman, yeah.
That's why she dates both, because her odds are just that much more increased. I don't know.
Smart. Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of jealous because she has more selection than we'll ever have.
I guess it depends on how you look at it, but yeah. Don't limit yourself.
Are we limiting ourselves?
Bro, you can get a dude whenever you want.
Dude, I'm already vegan.
You're a bear.
Listen, they have sex, they have robots
You're
now.
a bear, dude.
You'll have more options. They just may not be real women.
All of his outfits like color coordinated. He has like fucking right now like red shoes, a red little bead bracelet that matches his red shoes, that matches the red in his hat, that matches the little red in his shirt, dude. You're 75% on your way to fucking dudes. You got the little beard, just like trimmed perfectly, just little cock ticklers on your face.
Oh my God.
I don't know if I'm being made fun of or complimented.
It's all about how you look at it. It seemed nice. I mean,
perspective changes everything.
You're like rugged.
Basically, what she's
pristine.
saying is you could be fuckable to dudes.
No, he is very fuckable to dudes. Like what it is, you're rugged. You're like rugged.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, like he looks.
She
like,
basically says dudes would F you, which is
100%.
the highest of compliments.
That's
Maybe that's what it means to be high sexual. You know?
Am I effable to ladies?
Yeah.
Oh.
Do you think?
Is it? I don't know. I just never know.
Have you?
Do chicks hit on you?
Sorry?
Do girls hit on you like all the time?
Yeah, but it's usually on Instagram.
Do moms like you?
How many Instagram followers do you have?
I feel like
It's
moms
only
would like you.
16,000 or something.
I feel like moms who are like divorced would like you because then they would like low key like you for themselves, but like also to set you up with their daughter.
So this is crazy. You are a psychic.
I know.
My first kiss was my friend's mom.
Yeah.
And growing up as a teenager, all of my friends' single mothers and non-single mothers eventually all came on to me.
Yeah.
See, okay, pause. A dude can say that with a mom, but if I was like, my first kiss was my friend's dad,
it's like criminal.
You'd be like,
yeah. No, it is crazy. Like I got street cred for it.
Yeah. If that happened to us, we would be banned from like every parent teacher conference. Like
that dude's in jail now.
Yeah, that guy would be in jail.
So now my friend Sarah doesn't have a father.
Yeah,
and,
exactly.
And now she's a stripper, and it's no way
ruined
my
lives.
fault.
Now we have a conversation going. Do you ladies as women think that it's equally as bad for an older lady to be with a younger guy, and by younger I mean underage, versus a adult man to be with an underage girl?
No, technically it's not, and that's biology, right? So like if a 40-year-old dude is like boning some 16-year-old girl, that's super bad. But if some 40-year-old chick is boning some 16-year-old dude, that culturally doesn't seem as bad, which is ironic because the average, like when they look at like biology and how men and women evolve, they say not historically, like biologically.
Yeah, in the Greeks back in the day, the dudes would have sex with the
no, that's not what I was talking about.
On like, that was the culture.
What I was going to say was
with a lot of
biologically, women mentally age 7 years faster than dudes. So technically, a 17-year-old girl would be equivalent to 23-year-old dude.
I don't know if that's true for every case. I just think you have to follow. You have to like follow the law. I mean,
7 years faster.
I don't think you should be doing anything that's breaking the law when it comes to that situation.
I'm saying a 16-year-old girl is
but
technically mentally older than a 16-year-old dude.
I was super immature at 16. I'm still
but compared
immature.
to 16-year-old guys,
I know, but there are also some guys I think that grow up. I think it's different for everyone. But
I violated?
Huh?
Was I violated?
What do you mean?
Well, how old were you?
I was like 15.
Under the law, technically. But like, did you feel violated?
At first, but then I liked it.
Right. Because now you have bragging rights, right?
Well, that's also that's a sexual assault.
Under the law, under the law, you technically were assaulted or whatever the term would be. But like, did it change? Did it alter? Did it alter the course of your life? Like, do you think you were later on affected by it?
No, I never felt affected. I was just confused at that age why I was attracting older ladies and not the girls in school.
Right.
Because it also happened with my teacher, my art teacher.
Did you have the same beard?
That's what I'm saying. Maybe for
not an old soul. Did he have an old face?
But maybe in your instance, exactly, you looked older, so therefore maybe
like a
you hung out with
40-year-old
older
man, but
people.
he's
Do you have older
15?
siblings? Like,
but I was 6'3" when I was that age too. But I've also been told that I'm like more mature than
Right.
my years.
What's
For
your sign?
him, I feel like
Libra.
in this case, he grew up faster, which is why a lot, like, you know how you hear about those stories where like hot female teachers will sleep with, like we were talking about, like the 16-year-olds in their classes.
Well, it
and
happens
it's usually
both
the
ways.
dudes who look like they're 20. You know what I mean? Like Mary Kay Letourneau, who
Yeah, but it's the same thing for the girls. The teachers are sleeping with these girls. Typically, the girls look like way older.
All right, let's
Sure.
talk about legal dating now. All right.
Yeah, I was like, this is getting. I'm not a
This
lawyer.
is a very hot topic this week. Valentine's Day. It's tomorrow, right? Tomorrow is Valentine's Day. How important is Valentine's Day to you?
I think when I was younger, I placed more value on it just because I was naive. And now that I've gotten older, I feel like I know that Valentine's Day is just like a Hallmark holiday, you know? Like I didn't even celebrate my birthday this year, but you're talking to a depressed comic. So I just think that
She's like, I don't like holidays that remind me that love exists in the world.
Yeah, exactly, and feelings. But I think that the best way to celebrate Valentine's Day is to show the people that you love and care about love every other day besides Valentine's Day. Like be a dick to them on Valentine's Day, but like 364 other days of the year, be amazing to them.
So it's interesting. I was reading a study that said, not Happy Madison. What's that? Ashley Madison, that dating website for cheating. Apparently 75% of men sign up for the site right before Valentine's Day.
Whoa.
And then 75% of women sign up for the site after Valentine's Day, which they said had to do with like men have anxiety about performing for Valentine's Day, and then women get disappointed after Valentine's Day.
Oh my gosh.
I think men and women receive love differently. Like everyone has a different love language. Like men are much more, I think, physical. I think they like the nice things, but I think when it comes to men, they're more of like, they like the physical touch from women. That's what they strive for. That's
I'm
like,
more of a
right?
smell person. I have a fetish for the new book
Right.
smell.
He's like,
And I think
my love
women
language is smell.
love Valentine's Day because a lot of women place value in like material things. So like, I think it's mainly for the women that Valentine's Day.
Can we go back to
exists.
the smell thing? Hey, babe, I just want to know, do you love me? Hold on one sec. Let me smell your feet.
You smell feet. That's your thing.
New books.
You like books.
Like the new book smell at Barnes and Nobles.
So your girl should
So
buy you
he's just,
some.
wait, can we just, okay, he looks, this is Rachel, but I don't care. But you look, because you're Middle Eastern, people are like, this guy could be dangerous. Not me, but some people. And so he's just in Barnes & Noble sniffing books, dude. He's just in Barnes & Noble.
He gets on the list because of that.
Yeah, dude, he's just in
His
Barnes &
phone
Noble.
starts getting tapped.
Bro,
He's
you
just
better be
trying to
careful
go there
what
to
books you're sniffing.
sniff books.
He's like, how to...
All right. Now, do you each have a Valentine's this year? Something
Yeah, of
special?
course.
We
You
both
do?
have boyfriends.
And do you have a high expectation? Do you have in your head what they need to do, the bare minimum?
I fucked up like a week ago in my relationship, and so I'm just lucky that he's even talking to me in Valentine's
Don't worry,
Day.
she got rid of it.
All right.
So I'm just kidding.
Okay, so I'll see you at In-N-Out tomorrow at Five Guys. And Wolf.
I don't really have like expectations. I just work, like my man's great, so we just want to. We have plans. We're gonna go to the Griffith Observatory tonight because we both like space. So we're gonna go see stuff about space,
We're going to see Black Panther.
and then we're gonna make tacos.
My boyfriend's black.
Yeah.
You know that's breaking serious records already. Was it like 177 mil or something?
Oh, it's gonna crush, dude.
Yeah.
Black
Ours-
fans are like the best.
They're supporting, and there's a big movement happening now, you know, with the consumers speaking up and showing their value. So
Yeah, we're all about movements, Black Panther movement, bathrobe movements.
I love it. Now we're going to wrap up the show. Before we do, I need to know again where we could find you on social media, any upcoming projects you'd like to share with our audience.
Okay, cool. So I'm Vanessa Johnston. You can find me at Twitter at Vanessa Johnstu with 2 O's, and on Instagram at Vanessa V Johnston. Let's see. I don't really have any projects to promote right now.
I am Rachel Wolfson. You can find me at Wolfie Comedy on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and Wolfie Memes at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And you can find whatever I'm working on there. So
Oh, I do have
we have
something
a
to
bunch
promote.
of shows coming up. So.
I have a podcast I just relaunched on iTunes. It's called The Morbid Report. We talk about bizarre news.
Oh wait,
Sweet.
listen to also my other podcast, The Bud on iTunes. It's all about weed.
Awesome. I'm going to listen to them both. And when we tag you in the photos, please comment them underneath so the fans can see it too.
You're amazing.
Happy Valentine's,
You
everyone.
too.
Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
Ciao. See you next week.